Welcome into your SEC Media Days Craze at the College Football Hall of Fame in Atlanta, Georgia. SEC Media Days officially underway in Atlanta, and it is going to be a full 4-day event. I am Atlanta News First Sports Director Bailey Burmaster. 16 coaches, 16 teams playing and representing for what they believe is the most prestigious college football conference in the land. The field this fall is wide open. Remember, it's the second straight year of no division, so no SEC East, no SEC West, just the top two teams that will make it back to Atlanta in December for the SEC Championship. Over the next 4 days, we are going to preview every single team and hear from coaches and players about where their teams sit heading into fall camp. However, the 4-day event got started how it always does with Commissioner Greg Sankey. No lack of talking points on Monday. The transfer portal, SEC football scheduling, college football playoffs, and the never-ending battle for eligibility talks are just some of the hot topics around college athletics. However, NIL and the House settlement is the biggest issue concerning the future of college sports. The commissioner added, as the world changes through college sports, the priority is to hold on to some values that are at the center of what universities do academically on campuses.
The burden of making a new system work is certainly on commissioners and conference offices, but the responsibility is shared with our campuses and our campus leaders. And that's recognized in this league. Let me be clear, from my perspective, college athletics is not broken. College athletics is not broken. It is under stress. It is strained. And the answers we seek are tied into the complexities that have been referenced over time.
Sankey also spoke about playoff expansion, something the conference is supporting to go larger than the 12-team format, the ever-evolving landscape of eligibility, and how he would like to return to a normal status for the state of the game. He also discussed scheduling for 2026, but really refused to go any further than those discussions. First up here in Atlanta, the Bayou Bengals head coach Brian Kelly heads into his 4th year, and he is starting to feel a lot more pressure from this passionate fan base that has very high expectations. The 2024 campaign saw this team finish 9-4 with a big win over Ole Miss and a bowl victory. However, Kelly is still looking for that deep postseason run that this team is so used to. Quarterback will be key for this team, and they do get a return in starter Garrett Nussmeier, so all eyes will be on him. Another key will be getting off to a better start. LSU has lost its last 5 season openers, and this year's is no cupcake. Let's tap in with Baton Rouge.
The LSU Tigers are trying to achieve something they haven't since 2019, win their opener. They got a tough one this year against Clemson. Goal setting is something that we're all very familiar with in college football. Everybody talks about goals. We've made this a specific goal, and a specific goal meaning it's tangible for our guys. If you go through our weight room, we've got a Clemson paw print on the bags that we hit every day. It's on every monitor in the building to go 1-0. And I think it was important to have a tangible, specific goal for us to start the season. And I think it's important. Our kids want that. They can taste it. I use the analogy that, you know, when I work out, I like to have a clock in front of me so I know what the time is and when it's time to finish or to finish strong. And that's what this is. This is a clock in front of them saying, this is where we start this. And then it becomes 1-0 every week after that. But it's tangible and it's specific.
Well, first and foremost, I'm excited we're playing Clemson. You know, I would rather go play top 10 team in the country than not play a top 10 team in the country. In order to be the best, you got to beat the best. And going into a hostile environment, I think it's going to be awesome. I've never been to that stadium, but I've heard that it's cool. So I think our whole team is looking forward to just going and being able to play at one of the best venues in the country. This is the best roster that Coach Kelly's had. And when you have great leadership in Coach Kelly, Coach Sloan, Coach Baker, it makes you excited to play because you know that you can rely on them to be great coaches, and then you can just go be yourself, go be a player, go do what you do. So I think this season's expectation is to win the national championship, and that's everybody's goal in the building, and that's what we go work for every single day. Clemson is a 3-point favorite over LSU. The purple and gold will travel to Clemson, South Carolina.
In Atlanta, Garland Gillen, Fox 8 Local First.
It's like Christmas every year when the SEC schedule is released. So let's look at the biggest matchups coming your way in 2025.
If you take a look at ESPN's Football Power Index, 5 out of the top 10 toughest schedules are SEC teams. Texas, Georgia, and Alabama round out the top 3. Texas A&M and Tennessee close out the group. Here are the top 3 games to keep an eye out on this year's SEC schedule.
Texas at Georgia, Georgia's final SEC game of the season. It will be the Horns' first trip to North Georgia. Last year, the Dogs made Texas fans dazed and confused, winning both encounters. Each were 2 of the 3 SEC teams to make the college football playoff in the extended format. The 2 teams are expected to be ranked in the top 10 to start the 2025 season, but both have a tricky road to navigate before it all comes to a head on November 15th. At number 2, LSU at Alabama in Week 11. That game used to decide the SEC West. It's still a can't-miss showdown. The thrilling roller coaster that takes any fan for a ride they won't want to get off of. While the Tide have won comfortably the past 2 years, LSU's Brian Kelly has been building a new-look roster that hopes to compete with the Tide's more well-oiled machine. Coming in at number 1, Alabama at Georgia in Week 5. Alabama has always been the thorn in between the hedges. Nick Saban has halted Georgia from winning multiple SEC and national championships. The Tide, the only SEC team to overthrow the Dogs since 2020. And for the first time since 2015, Alabama will return to Athens for a night game. And for Dogs fans present a decade ago, they can still feel the sour taste of that loss handed to them on a silver platter by Derrick Henry.
Sitting just outside the top 3, the Lone Star Showdown in Week 14. Texas A&M goes to Austin for the first time since 2010. And South Carolina at Ole Miss in Week 10, a sneaky game and a tough place to play that could potentially play spoiler in the SEC standings.
Twelve teams will be selected for the college football playoff, with 5 conference champions getting automatic bids. Will LSU be in that conversation this year? Still to come on your SEC Media Days Craze, University of South Carolina is no longer being overlooked. Head coach Shane Beamer has righted the ship, so to speak. Meanwhile, Vanderbilt had the biggest upset in the SEC last season. However, the Commodores will have to lean on a lot more than some Magic City motion. SEC Media Days Craze, I'm Bailey Burmaster. Another program looking to take a step in the right direction in 2025 is the Ole Miss Rebels. There's no doubt that Coach Lane Kiffin has raised the bar in Oxford, but similar to LSU, they're still looking to be legit contenders, not only in this league, but when it comes to that national title. They will have to break in a new quarterback to make that push for the 12-team playoff. Let's head to Mississippi to get the latest on the Rebs.
The unofficial start to the 2025 football season is here with the kickoff of SEC Media Days in Atlanta. All 16 teams from the Southeastern Conference are represented, with coaches and players stepping up to the mic this week to preview the season ahead. For Ole Miss, the spotlight came Monday afternoon. The Rebels, coming off of a fresh 10-3 finish in the 2024 season, just shy of making the expanded 12-team college football playoff. Still, the season served as another step forward for Lane Kiffin, who enters his 6th year at the helm in Oxford. With several players being drafted and departing from the program, questions are being raised about filling those holes. But Kiffin put all those concerns to rest.
Yeah, I think anytime that once you got a chance to be the starter and you feel that, and you change a little bit, and he's done a great job. He's really led well, worked on a lot of different stuff in the off season, and he's doing a good job.
Simmons enters his 3rd season with the Rebels and his 1st as the full-time starter. The 19-year-old is widely regarded as one of the most promising young quarterbacks in the conference. After backing up Jackson Dart last year, Simmons made appearances in 9 games, throwing for 282 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now he takes on the responsibility of leading the Ole Miss offense, and while he may still be young, his leadership hasn't gone unnoticed.
He's become more confident in himself, being able to be more vocal, being able to just tell us when we're slacking, being able to tell us when we need to do better. I feel like that comes with taking that next role as a quarterback.
I feel older than my age. I'm going into year 3, and so that really helps a lot. Just like being able to say like I've been in this game for a while, and just being able to say like I'm already adapted to it. Just embracing a new role, just being around the receivers more often, especially with the old linemen, just getting used to all the new faces that we had coming in, and just making sure everyone's on the same page and building that chemistry.
That confidence in Simmons is echoed throughout the locker room. Teammates point to his maturity, composure, and work ethic as driving forces behind the team's strong offense.
Man, just being in and out the facility, off the field, just building our relationship, whether we're doing off the field activities or just in the field, film room, seeing guys on the jug machine. Everybody's been able to build those relationships, and I think that's huge when we try to set the standard, because everybody's going to listen to each other.
Ole Miss will kick off the 2025 season under the lights of Vaught Hemingway Stadium against Georgia State. In Atlanta, I'm Carmen Corley.
Year 6 for Kiffin is sure to be an interesting one. More to come in South Carolina. The Gamecocks won 6 straight to finish 9-3 before losing in the Citrus Bowl. So what are the fair expectations for this team? We'll tell you next.
On your period, sudden gushes happen.
Welcome back. This time last year, the Gamecocks weren't really in the conversation for the playoff, but then they shocked the world, winning 9 games last season and actually being in talks of making that playoff. So the secret is out. Beamer ball is working in Columbia. Let's head to South Carolina to hear the latest on the Gamecocks.
It was a busy first day here at SEC Media Days. Rick Henry, along with Julia Westerman, the Gamecocks were one of 4 teams making the rounds on opening day. This is the 5th SEC Media Days for Shane Beamer as USC's head football coach. One of the themes for Carolina this season, are they a serious contender to win the conference championship? Last year, they finished 9-4, just missing out on the college football playoff. Beamer says his team definitely can compete for the league title.
2010 was my last season working at South Carolina as an assistant. In that season, we played for the SEC championship, and we beat Georgia, we beat Florida, we beat Tennessee, we beat Clemson, we beat Alabama when they were #1 in the country. And the resources that we have in Columbia now, on and off the field, are so much better than what we had in 2010. Now, I get it, the league is different, and all those teams have different coaches, and they're in a different place as well. But in this league, if you show you're one of the best teams, which we've beaten so many of the best teams in this league, there's teams that we haven't, but as you continue to recruit and continue to develop, yeah, absolutely, it's attainable. And I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was. I didn't come here to go 7-5 every year. I came to South Carolina to compete for championships.
Julia, the Gamecocks certainly played themselves into the national championship conversation last season.
They sure did, and all people can really talk about still to this day is last season. But the Gamecocks made something very clear this morning. Last season was a step in the right direction. They now have to learn from the low points and focus on what lies ahead. They're aware of what they had to replace on defense and the high expectations for quarterback Lenora Sellers. All they're focused on is August 31st and Virginia Tech.
Every team is a different team, and we definitely have that hunger because, we got a chip on our shoulder. Everybody thinks that, since we lost great players, that we're not going to be a dominant defense. So we definitely got a chip on our shoulder, and we're working towards that.
It always comes down to 1-2 plays. In the SEC, it's 1 touchdown games, 3-point games. They're usually close, not a lot of blowouts. So 1 or 2 plays is what the biggest difference in the game.
It's heartbreaking, coming up that short, so it just shows you how 1 or 2 plays can really change your season. So just going out there, focus on the small details, how we preach every day in the facility. Just small details, and you have to do them because small details lead us not to being in the playoffs last year. So it's definitely heartbreaking. We think about it a lot as well.
The Gamecocks will be right back here in Atlanta to face the Hokies on Sunday of opening weekend.
Wow, it's going to be an emotional day for Shane Beamer as he faces his alma mater and the school where his dad became a coaching legend. And then Coach Beamer would like to return to Atlanta in December and play for the SEC Championship. In Atlanta, Rick Henry and Julia Westerman.
Getting Lenora Sellers back in Columbia for the Gamecocks will be huge and a positive transition to take that next step this upcoming season. Stick with us. When we come back, we're headed to Nashville to catch up with the Commodores. to you by Gray Media. I'm Bailey Burmaster. South Carolina could certainly be a team that could be labeled as unpredictable heading into the 2025 season. One team that shares that sentiment, Vanderbilt. They set the sports world on fire last year when they upset #1 Alabama at home. It was a spectacle to see. Vanderbilt went on to claim a bowl and secure a winning season. Quarterback Diego Pavia also turned down 7-figure offers just to return to Vanderbilt. Let's head to Nashville to get the latest on the Commodores.
It's an off-season of optimism for Vanderbilt football. The Commodores are coming off a reinvigorating turnaround season. They more than tripled their win total from the previous year, won their first bowl game since 2013, and don't forget, they beat top-ranked Alabama. And that was their first win over the Crimson Tide in 4 decades. So all of that comes together to prompt a new sense of pride for the black and gold.
It's definitely special being a part of something that's building up, something that's hasn't been successful in the past and, making it successful. So I definitely take pride in, being a part of this, and everybody that's a part of it, our team, my teammates, the staff, I feel like everybody plays a role in it.
I think we're still a team that's not respected. I think we have a lot to prove still. Some of that may be my own kind of maniacal approach. Maybe, in 15 years I'm singing the same tune, But I do think that's the DNA of who we are. We're a chip on the shoulder group, young, hungry, and scrappy, and we're out to prove ourselves all over again. And that's going to be our formula, our attitude.
A key ingredient to that formula is quarterback Diego Pavia. He was the motor for Vanderbilt's headline 2024 season. And now he's back for an encore in Music City after winning an extra year of eligibility through a lawsuit against the NCAA. So in terms of the impact of Pavia's return, well, his teammates' faces say it all.
So this guy, man, that's my guy. He's a dog. He's like spoken well. And he leads really, really well, and he doesn't just do that on the field; he does it off the field too. He try to do stuff with all players all the time, and he's a great guy.
Big impact, that was major for the program. That gave everybody in our locker room confidence that we can run it back because we have our guy behind the center, and Diego brings that swagger, that confidence, that dog mentality to the offensive side. So, it's very important to have a good quarterback to win in the SEC.
Obviously this season we felt like we were cut short of it, and we had a goal to go win the national championship. And so having this extra year is a blessing because I get another chance at it. And I feel like last year I didn't do it exactly right. And that's my living off the field is what I'm talking about. And so this year I'll finally be able to put everything together.
So as Vanderbilt steps into this new standard of football, so does First Bank Stadium. It's been a long road of construction, detours, and hard hats. But that road is set to come to an end this fall. Head coach Clark Lee says he expects them to be hammering in the final nail when they put the ball on the tee for the season opener. And quarterback Diego Pavia told me he expects to have some special celebrations after his touchdowns that are tailored to the end zone and set up in the stadium. But he says we'll have to tune in this fall to see what those are. With the Commodores, I'm Lauren Walsh.
Boy, does it feel good to be talking SEC football once again. No rest for the weary. SEC Media Days continues. Tuesday packs a mean punch with Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, and Auburn all set to take the podium. Make sure to join us on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for all your SEC Media Days craze. I'm Bailey Burmaster. We'll see you again.